All right, guys, so happy Tuesday and welcome to the venue live. My name is Roger Ramirez, and this is Houston's first online live performance venue brought to you from R&R Studio. We're here in the studio with Groove Adhesive. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
It's definitely a pleasure to have you out here because sound check was fucking awesome. And I know I keep saying it, and I know all of you are in for a treat. So guys, tell us your name and what you do in the band, and hold the microphone like this far so they can hear you clearly.
Sure thing. My name is Josh Hyman. I'm the guitar player.
My name is Kevin Cowart, saxophone and keyboards.
My name is Jordan Alms, play the drums.
Marlon Simon, percussion.
Felix De Leon, trumpet and keyboards.
Jelando Johnson, bass.
Awesome, guys. So how long have y'all been together? Tell us who started the band, whose idea was it? At what point were y'all like, you know what, let's get together and write some tunes? Whose idea was it? Tell us a little bit about that.
It was Josh's idea to start.
Sure, I guess I'll start. So yeah, I had a group that I was playing some of these same songs with. Some were different, and it was just kind of a jazz trio at the time. And then, I did it for a while, but I got busy and kind of put it on the back. I was like, I don't know, it's hard to do original music anywhere, and in Houston for sure. I mean, any city, but
Yeah.
it's like you're not making much money. It's hard to get guys involved who really want to do it. So along comes Kevin back there, and actually I've known Kevin. You'll hear from him later. But along comes Kevin. I've known Kevin on and off for a while. We actually went to school in Miami together back in the day, and he's kind of like, hey man, let's do some original stuff. I was kind of like, yeah, it might be cool. But I'll give him credit. He really pushed me because I was kind of on the fence at the time. I was a little burnt out on just trying to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
tough to
it's
do.
hard, man.
And then I kind of know these guys. We've all done bands all around Houston for a long time. Top 40 bands, every corporate gig ever.
Yeah.
So, I've known Jordan forever and these guys. So that's kind of how it started.
That's pretty awesome, dude. And so tell us, at what point did you decide that I know you play covers and all y'all play in top 40 bands, and we got to do what we got to do, but was there a time that you didn't have original music, and that was there a turning point that you were like, you know what, fuck it, I got to write some stuff down and have some music of my own? Was there a turning point? Was there
I'm going to give this one to Kevin because he's passionate.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if there's a turning point. I think that just going through the programs at the University of Miami, that forced us to write and kind of go down that creative path.
Oh, okay.
And
so you took composing and stuff like that, composition.
Yeah,
and stuff like that?
all that stuff. Ron
Cool.
Miller was my teacher. I'm not sure who Josh studied with, but Ron Miller really taught us a lot of different ways to write songs, and so we had a lot of different influences just from him alone. And then from all the other music that we play, that just kind of got all mixed up into a pile, and out comes what you hear from us today. And I think the coolest thing that we're really trying to do right now is create a new genre, which we're kind of branding as Houston Fusion. So it's never been heard before. It's something brand new, and I think it's coming along great.
Well, I definitely hear many influences, Latin influence, jazz influence, rock, just everything. And I might be missing some, but what artists or what do you listen to that has influenced your style? I know most of y'all, or a lot of y'all, have different backgrounds, and so can you talk about individually what your styles are?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first since I have the mic. So I like Yellow Jackets. Bob Mintzer's one of my favorite saxophonists, and so that's where I get kind of that style of fusion from, and then mixing it up with everybody else, it creates something pretty cool. Here's Josh.
Hell yeah, it sounds badass.
Yeah, I guess one of the first ones for me was Weather Report, because I grew up more like a blues rock guy, like everybody else, Zeppelin and all Hendrix. But when I started getting more into jazz, but I didn't love it at first, but I liked parts of it. I liked improvising and the chords and the scales. So when I heard Weather Report, I was like, oh man, you can kind of fuse all this together. So they were probably one of the tipping points for me, and more modern, like Snarky Puppy and that kind of that kind of vibe would be, I think, the closest thing.
Well, I definitely got to check out some of those people because I have very little clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, check them out.
But I always watch the show afterwards, and I always go back and check out the bands because you know, a lot of original bands come here, and it's so badass just to be able to, for a change, to listen to something new. You know, everybody always brings something different here, and so I've kind of changed the way that I listen to music. I just watch the shows that I, you know, that we stream live here, and it's badass that people are still writing original music and that are still getting inspired and are not settling just. I know everybody needs the money, of course, but it's always good to know that people are still, you know, putting themselves out there, you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want to keep doing musical influences?
Yeah.
I guess Tony Williams for me, he had a couple of bands of his own after Miles, including one in the 80s that was a big influence on how I play. And guys like Billy Cobham, Simon Phillips, there are really a lot of great drummers. And one of the things about drums that's, I think, unique is it's such a visual instrument. So just going to see guys like Sebastian Whitaker here in town, and Chris Dave, and there's plenty of people in and around Houston over the years that I've gotten to see and who have influenced me a lot. And then I think something that's probably true of all of us is you get to a certain level on your own instrument, and then you start getting inspired by other instrumentalists, Snarky Puppy, for example, for me. And we've all led bands, so starting to be influenced by band leaders and composers. So I think that's another element, not even on your own instrument, but outside as well.
Yeah, that's very true, man.
Well, coming from a Latin background, being influenced mostly by Cuban and Puerto Rican percussionists, Anga, Giovanni Hidalgo, people from those areas of the Caribbean. Then in New York, I studied some jazz and got influenced by Victor Lewis, drummer, Tony Williams also, and trying to develop through the years, you know, your own voice in the instruments also. So that's my job nowadays, and that's what I'm trying to do in this band.
Yeah, man. Well, you add a lot of texture, and
Thank
that's
you.
like super dope, you know.
Thanks a lot.
Like,
man.
you know, I hear the beat, but then I'm hearing like all this extra like badass percussion, and it really just creates a layer upon layer, and that's what he was talking about. You're creating a fusion.
Thanks a lot.
And
yeah,
it just
appreciate it.
sounds really cool, man.
Thank
what you're
you.
doing the
It is
band.
Felix.
You know, as a trumpet player, my first style of music that I was drawn to was jazz. So I started off listening to Lee Morgan, Clifford Brown, and Freddie Hubbard. That's where I started, and it kind of just molded me all the way through college and so forth until I started finding out that there was other people that played trumpet. You know what I mean? That were alive too. And then, so you know, like people like Terrence Blanchard, Wynton Marsalis, and people like that. And then I studied under Arturo Sandoval's direction as a trumpet player.
Oh shit.
And so,
Damn.
so then my Latin side started coming, where I started listening to more Latin music, Latin jazz. You know, even the greats like Tito Puente and stuff like that, which I got to perform with.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like 19 years old, so it was pretty cool. And then the older I got, I started, you know, getting drawn to like James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire, and then a lot of gospel music. So like all those things just kind of have come together to kind of create what. Not my sound, I guess you could say, but you know that's basically my background and
That's
and
pretty
what
awesome, dude.
influences me. Yeah.
On
definitely.
that Tito Puente's note, when I was in high school, I think Tito Puentes had passed away already, but his son came to Houston.
Yeah, Junior. Yeah.
Yeah, Junior, and then I played with him a show with his band,
Really?
and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man.
That was pretty dope.
He's come here twice since I remember, and I played with him those 2 times that I knew he was in town. But
Wait,
yeah,
was I?
there was one that was
Barry.
at the Salsa Congress that he was playing.
No,
there.
it wasn't there. It was.
And there was one when I was like 20 at Cristal right there on Bissonnette.
Oh
and
no, it wasn't at
50.
those
No,
places.
these were
I
like
was
heavy
I was
Latin.
like
Yeah, you remember? You know, it's
like
still
old
there.
Cristal, dude. That's,
And you know,
you're taking it way back, bro.
And I still didn't get fully paid for that, actually. Now I think about it. But hey, it's okay. Yeah. Hey, whoever's watching, don't forget. It's been like 20 years. But yeah, you know, it's cool. You know, me and being Latino, you know, I definitely have that side to me. But my parents were all church gospel musicians. You know, my father, my grandfather, my uncle, my mom. I mean, I was born and raised
In a
in
musician
church, and they were all
family?
musicians, and it was
Yeah,
hey, I
man.
had no choice.
That's pretty.
But
cool.
I love it. I love not having a choice.
That's pretty cool, man.
So yeah, my influence is basically from an R&B background, but also whatever was coming out of the radio at that time, because my mom kept the radio playing. Mom and Dad, they didn't have a big album collection, but they kept the radio playing, and so I got all of what was happening in those days. LTD, Commodores,
sure music definitely has changed on the radio.
And Brick, but then I also got a little Chicago, Queen, people like that. Even some Merle Haggard when we used to go up to East Texas where my grandparents were. So I got a lot of whatever was happening. But the biggest influence was Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Verdi White, and with the hair.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I saw that concert, and that's when I knew I wanted to be a musician. And so
you gonna show us some moves today?
if I feel it, it might come through. But when I got to Texas Southern University, that's when I started playing jazz, and that's when I started learning about the greats. And I used to hang out at KTSU with the late Vince Kennedy, and he used to show me a lot of the musicians that I needed to know if I was going to play jazz. He was like a school after school, and so I got hip to all of the greats, bass players like Paul Chambers. That's my all-time favorite upright player. Ron Carter and people like that, and as well as the contemporary side. Was heavily influenced by the Chick Coreas and the George Benson, and also after once I graduated, started playing more. Then came the blues side, and so all the great blues artists. I used to play in the blues band, several blues bands, and it's not enough time to tell some of the stories that went along with that music. But with the B.B. Kings and with the Bobby Blue Bands, that music influenced me heavily. And then also the Latin music. Later on, as I started gigging, I played a few Latin bands around here, and was influenced by the Pancho Sanchez and the Tito Puentes, and people like that, Celia Cruz,
of course.
And so so I'm glad to be in this group because all of those influences are being utilized, right now.
And it shows, man. And I know I only got to hear, I think, like 2 songs during sound check, but I know I'm in for a treat. And that's like the awesome thing about what I do, because I don't know what's coming either. I hear nothing but original music here. So it's always a pleasure to get to mix, especially musicians of your caliber. And I really appreciate y'all being here, guys. So where can people find you on social media if they want after this, they want to look for y'all?
Yeah, and we encourage you to do that. GrooveAdhesive.com, at Groove Adhesive on Instagram, Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Those are the main ones we're doing. We're playing in and around town, so come check it out. Come check our calendar out and find us there.
And we will post up your social media information once this video posts up, and we will tag you on everything. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We need your support. We showcase local musicians around town, and we pretty much have live concerts every night until December. We're booked, and then we're going to start booking for next year already. Also, if you're on Facebook, make sure you share the video, because these guys need to get a lot of fans.
Yes, sir.
We like fans.
Yeah, dude, a lot. And I know people will love your music once you start playing. It fucking hypnotized me. Well, but if you're watching on Twitter live, retweet the event and give us a bunch of hearts. So we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Westone Audio. Thank you for the in-ears. Really love them. They're awesome. Your Pro Series is super dope, and we hope to keep their relationship going. Any final thoughts, guys, before we get started?
Go Astros.
Go Astros. Damn right. That's right, Astros. This one's for you. All right, guys. So we're going to take a minute break.
It's harsh.
These guys are going to get into their spots, and we're going to start rocking it out. All right. See you in a bit.